Hello.
Hey everybody.
I'm gonna do this intro so you can carry on with your little lunch.
Let's see.
So, hi everyone, welcome to God and the Galactics. This is on both our channels, Archeia Rose, New Paradigm Updates, and 5DJourney.org. We have the beautiful Archeia Rose, and I'm Archeia Passion, and we do these chit chat, come together, discuss all things ascension related, because we find that we really work well, we really bounce off each other, we really can get similar syncs and stuff in the different ways we get our downloads, and we love to compare and see how the other one's doing. And we thought we'd bring this to you in a little bit of a more comprehensive way and start filming our chats. But today's a chat that I'm really noticing going on at the moment. So it's all about relationships, who you want to be in relationships, what relationships are for, what they do for us, and the pitfalls that we can really easily avoid. So we can basically make sure that we go into the brilliant relationships and not accidentally fall into ones that turn out to be a really unpleasant experience. And I first want to kind of mention about how the relationship within is always the one you can lean on. So we have this saying, need kills love, right? So if you need someone to pay you so much attention, if you need them to go out with you and not with their friends, if you need them to do certain things, if you need them to compliment you all the time, need kills love. Love is free, love is easy, love is simple, love is spontaneously induced. Love comes naturally from the other person. You don't extract it from someone. That's not love, right?
Absolutely.
When we go into these relationships, because they satisfy our ego so much, so love and connection is a need of the ego, okay, not a need of the soul. The soul is love and connection. The ego needs the soul growth and the soul to lead. And the love and connection is one of our 6 human needs. And we love it because obviously it gives us company, it makes us feel special, it gives us a whole range of experiences we cannot have on our own. We cannot see who we are on our own. It takes another person, be it friend, family, romantic relationship, companion, even, to see who we are. So relationships really amplify us. And I have this strong belief, shall we say, and I use this with so many of my people, and it's so brilliant. It's a really good tool to use, which is where I say to people, do you know what your relationship deal breakers are? And they're like, what? And I'm like, your deal breakers, so how to grade a relationship to see if it's going to really support you or not. If it's going to be compatible for you or not. And the way you do this is you take an A4 piece of paper, and it must be A4. Don't go for a short piece of paper, because you'll end up just ramming it all with silly little writing you can't see, and you'll have numbers everywhere. And you have 3 columns on an A4 piece of paper. And you list all the attributes you want in your new relationship, including what you want in your partner. And you go for it. And you'll write about 25, 30, 35. And then you'll go, oh, I can't think of any more. And we call this hitting the wall. You need to hit the wall 3-4 times before you're through, okay? Keep going until you have filled up A4, 3 columns at least, okay? And then when you've finished, you will then say, okay, I'm going to play a game. I can have one out of all of these columns. And you go through each one, and you start by saying, right, you number them. So is number 1 or number 2? If I could only have one of those 2, which would it be? And you'll probably say, oh, number 1. Okay, great. What about number 1 and number 3? Yeah, still number 1. Okay, what number 1 and number 4? Oh, well, yeah, actually, I think number 4. And it's quite important for you to do this on your own, because otherwise other people can give you words that mean something to them and they don't mean the same thing to you and things like that. So it's really quite important you can do this. You're the one who's thinking of the attributes on this list. And when you've done that once and you've got your top one, do it again and again and again until you've got your top 10. But your top 5 are the ones that you can manifest into somebody that you want to be romantically involved with, or not even romantically involved with. A friend, a job, a house, somewhere to live, a project, whatever it is, you can do this exercise with. And what's really exciting is we thought of something else the other day when we were chatting, which was, have you done your deal breakers on who you're going to be in this relationship? And again, it could be a project, a friendship, a job, doesn't matter. And then say, because what I've been seeing in many of my breakthroughs recently is that the other person loses themselves in love. So they go and they make compromises and they make changes and they stop doing the thing they always loved doing, like going and playing golf or going and, go for a walk on their own. Now they go with that person and it's lovely, but they're not getting that special quality time that they used to have themselves anymore. And, being able to compromise is great. This is really the epitome of what we say. There's a 3D strategy, which is unbalanced. And can you make it into a 5D strategy, which is balanced? That's really all the difference is. And sustainable and healthy. And we realize that so much, because we're so wanting to be in a relationship or in this partnership or whatever it is, like I said, job, project, blah, 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 that we tend to kind of lose ourselves a little bit. Whereas if you had your deal breakers list before you went in, both for yourself in that situation, 12:44 on the clock, and the situation to you, you are literally raising your chances of success to like 99.9%. I've talked a lot. Do you want to mention something before I carry on?
This is fascinating because we have the last eclipse we have is in Libra, and Libra is all about, actually, scrap that. I think that the South Node is moving to Libra. And that means that we will be transforming relationships collectively. Okay, I need to check my astrology there. Anyway, so there's a lot of soulmates coming in, not twins, soulmates. These are like karmic relationships to help us transform the lower energetics of the 3D relationship. Because I'm not going to lie, all 3D relationships are built on dysfunction. No one's healed. Everyone's programmed. You just density all over on one another to another. Move, break up with them, don't like them, that's fine. Another, and until we even I'm not gonna lie, marriage is kind of a pretty cabal thing, isn't it? Like, for better, for worse, it's like a lot of conditions. So we have to be conscious now of the relationships that are coming into our lives, so that we know we can transform these energetics for the rest of the time, for humanity. So it's really important what Nick is saying. I definitely started doing the deal breakers yesterday, and it turned into the most healing, therapeutic, automatic writing I've ever done about how I wanted my relationships to be, how I wanted to be in my relationships. Like, I feel like I dissolved a lot of the density of past relationships. I kind of went there, but not in a sad way, in a way that I like that, I didn't like that. How do I want to be? Who do I want to be? What do I want the relationship to be like? What do I want it to bring to me? What will the feel be like? Will it be like a friend? It was incredible. I feel like I literally set my intent for heaven.
Well, which you are doing, and you really become so conscious in there, and you also get to go, oh, look at that. Now we know this new word, strategy, which is it's your unconscious game plan, or your plan of action, or your point of view, or your belief, or your core belief, or you can give it so many descriptions, but your strategy is basically what actions you take, right? Whether you know it or not, and you tend to stick to the same method or the same action plan again and again for similar things or for the same thing.
Yes, so you could call it programming, or you could call it strategy. Like, what was your unconscious behavior within a relationship?
Absolutely. And what this does, it brings you consciousness, but it brings you your strategy, and you get aware of what you used to do and what you tend to do. And then you can get aware of where the imbalance is, and then what you're going to set your intent for the future. And it's such a prevention rather than cure approach. And where I feel like this is really magical is that when I'm doing breakthroughs for people, and bear in mind, we start all sorts of trauma, we always end up lately. What relationship? Basically, there's always been some expectation that didn't get met, even if it was a subconscious expectation or semi-conscious expectation. It didn't get met. It led to hurt, and then that person is left suffering, and they don't have the tools to fix the suffering. So this suffering goes on for decades. And what we lead to by doing our higher self unblocking process, higher self embodiment process, whatever you want to call it, parts integration, is we start with finding the unwanted part and we give it a name. Is it the hurt part, the betrayed part, the lost part, the depressed part, the angry part, whatever it is? And then we go, well, you know, what does that part need to say? What does it need to not feel that way anymore? What needs to happen, you know? And all of them have lately come down to, when you have expectations you put on another, you're setting yourself up for pain. That person might not even have a clue what your relationship, your expectations are. In any form of relationship, not just romantic, this could be sibling, parent, child, whatever. And then we kind of go, okay, so if that's the 3D strategy that isn't working, because you can't control the other person and you shouldn't do, that's not love, that's not true love.
Yeah.
Then what relationship can you always lean on? And it's the one within and the one with God, your creator. That one will always catch you. It is unconditional love. There is no pitfalls there, apart from forgetting it's there. That's the only pitfall there is. And when you fall into that relationship, what you do is you start to rely on yourself. And when you have expectations on yourself, they can still be painful, so don't do them, but they're more controllable. They're easy to navigate because you can control yourself. You can realize what you've done or not done and decide where you want to go, and you can make those changes. You don't need to try and control another person to do it. So it all ends up being the one that you put your focus and energy into is the one within and the one with your source creator first.
Yeah.
Then you find you can just be unconditional love everywhere else, because you won't have those expectations anymore. You know that's your pitfall. So you go, I'm going to love you, I'm going to be with you, but I'm not going to expect anything back. And when you can get in that place, and initially people might go, what do you mean you don't expect anything back? And I said, exactly that. Expect nothing.
It's just enjoying another's company, isn't it? There's literally no, you need to do this, you have to be like this, your behavior's that. It's literally, I enjoy your presence and your company. I get enough from here. So if you're around, amazing. If you're not, I still got me. That's
exactly. And you can keep your focus on half you, half them. And when you've done your relationship deal breakers and your deal breakers for yourself in that relationship, you go, oh, look, I'm not seeing my friends as much, or my family as much, or I'm not having the me time so much, or I've lost I'm not doing this goal that really mattered to me.
So I'm going to ask you a question, and I think this applies to every single woman, man, anybody who is in a 3D relationship, and also a 5D, maybe a twin flame relationship. You meet that person and the butterflies start going. The adrenaline starts pumping. You are excited. You're like, you know, you fall in love, and we know what it's like when you fall in love. You're in bloody rainbow and cloudland. It's just, this person is the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. You know, you just want to stare at them all the time. You want to nurture them, pet them, feed them, you know, give them words of heaven. This is me falling in love, by the way. How you stroke them, you're like, I love you. How do we gain, is it what, so surely that is a human, I know it's part of like human nature that we fall in love, because then we form an attachment to this being who we're going to mate with, you know, to recreate human form. But so for myself, I can sit and be like, oh, I'm not going to lose myself, I'll be fine. I know the moment that I fall for somebody, I have to work so hard to do anything to ground myself. I'm just so excited for the next meeting, the text messages, the phone calls, you know, you're just so like, you're so swept up in it, and that is normal, and that is a beautiful stage of our lives. But how definitely for myself, because I'm sure you've had that, right? You know, the bubble stage of love, which is just heavenly, and you want to keep it going a couple of years of that, please. You know, not a few months. I want at least 2 years of running around with this person going, you are so fun, you're my best. Yeah, exactly. Wow. But I don't know. It's like making peace. Maybe it's understanding that it's a different stage of your life, and like you will change a bit.
What's the question exactly?
How do you not lose yourself?
How
do you not lose yourself when the chemicals are so strong, when the adrenaline is pumping, when all of your human senses are saying, you know, just like throw yourself in, like maybe it's maturity. I don't know. Maybe it's
actually, I think it's a strategy, as it always is, and it's you're putting short-term gain over long-term gain.
Okay.
And long-term gain always wins. Long-term gain is always healthier, better for you. So what you're not doing,
slowing it down, maybe.
No, it's just you're almost making it last longer by, it's like if you overdose on it in the beginning, it can get suffocating. You know,
okay.
It's like, imagine you go, let's put it into a kid's perspective. Funny little example. Kid goes to fairground ride, right? One of the first times they've been to a fairground ride, and it's like, oh, and it picks a ride and it goes on it and it likes it, so it goes on it again and again and again and again and again and again and again,
and then it gets tired of it
again and again, and now it's like,
or like you're really excited about going to a party or a festival, and you get so excited before you tire yourself out, and then when you get to the party you're too tired. Like you've been so excited. That's the kind of thing I would do. Then I get to a festival and I'm like, I'm just knackered.
The thing is, you are building up your expectations, and I do this with holidays, and I build up and I think it's going to be an amazing hotel or an amazing weather, and then I get this that's not quite what my imagination had. And
also, I have another question for you as well about relationships. I love it. I feel like this is going to be a few episodes. I think it's fascinating. Often before, and even when we are getting to know somebody, we fall in love with a version of them that we have created in our minds. We don't fall in love with that actual person, because it takes a few years to really get to know somebody. So we fall in love with the fantasy of what we feel they will be.
Yeah, it's almost like, I'm sorry to say it like this, and this is not the generalization, or this is not the thing for everyone, but you almost you fall in love with the idea of being in love and what's new and novel, and you overlook things. It's okay that there may be a little bit of some dodgy stuff, and it's okay that they have some very odd friends who are weird.
You just overlook it, don't you?
And then after a while you're like, why have you got such weird friends? And they're like, I had them when you turned up, you didn't mind them then, what's wrong with them now? You know,
I think that's part of that human, that it is a part of the evolution, the mating mechanism, that you kind of overlook that stuff. Because if we saw that in everyone straight away, you'd be like, no. Whereas you're almost blind to it, so you're like, yeah, I'm gonna mate with this one, I'm in.
Here's the interesting thing: animals don't need to stick around with the parents. You know, the male doesn't need to stick around sometimes. Sometimes the woman even eats the male. I'm not. This is the animal kingdom. It's very different. We are a different kettle of fish, literally. It is a beautiful situation when parents can choose each other wisely. So it is definitely an equal head-heart choice. The head is saying, yeah, and the heart is saying, oh, yeah, let's do it, let's get it on. The other person saying the same thing, because, and I will definitely put this on, this is my personal belief, but it's worked. I'm in a relationship where I'm now 8 years in, 2 kids in, work together, live together, socialize together, and we are better now than ever. We are happier now than ever. We've had a bump, but the bump was a blessing, because the bump was a communication, and rather it being I was like,
you were understanding of the unit, you know, you knew that it was a healing.
For me as well, always, as soon as somebody accuses me of something, my strategy is I look at myself first. I'm like, they're saying this. Oh, let me look. Let me check, because I don't want. And this is an ego thing, but I quite like this. I don't want to go, no, I'm not. And then they'll go, yeah, you are, because blah, blah, blah. And I'll go, oh, yeah. Embarrassed. So the first thing I'll do is I'll go, let me check.
Yeah, take accountability always. It's admirable. Well done. Well done.
It's a strategy that works for me. And as soon as my husband was like, blah, 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 and I was like, oh, let me look at that. And then when I can say, yeah, you know what, you're right there, but hang on a minute on that point, I think that's a bit unfair. And he was like, because I've done this whole give and take thing where the first thing I did was look at myself, he is then happy to listen to me when I go, but point 2 wasn't fair. That's like, I'll come 50-50 on that one. But point 1, yeah, no worries. Hands up to that one, you know.
And that does come on to a really good point, that relationships do take work. Like, you know, everybody, they can be in this bubble. I know you're going to say it's a belief system, but listen to what I'm going to say. You can be in this bubble phase of like thinking the sun shines out of each other's, you know, for a while, and then it dissipates, and then it gets real, it gets normal. You go into your 3D job, because those still exist. You're having to, you know, you're tired, you are stressed, it is life, and you're next to this person, and it is like, okay, so all these miracles and unicorns, they've all disappeared, and now we're just together. Is this really, is this it? Is this the thing that we want, you know?
This is why it's so important to do your deal breakers, know what you want and what you need before you go into the relationship. Because if that person has those things naturally, you'll never need to get them from them, because they're giving them already. It's who they are. So set yourself up, right? You know, it's like if you want, if you've got 2 children and you're looking for a house, you're not going to go and look for a studio flat. You're going to try and buy a 3-bedroom house if you can, right? You're going to set yourself up for success. It's the same sort of thing. So you're going to look at somebody, and actually, I do feel it's kind of like going back to the caveman principle, which I love because it really, really works. And basically, the caveman principle is, you know, Tarzan and Jane, or, you know, John and Jane, or whatever you want to call it. One set.
So I have decided I am currently single, and that when I am in a relationship, I'm going to be using my energy tools to the max. And I am so excited. Like, I'm going to set my intent every time, you know, say if I went on a date or if I met somebody, I would plan out the energetics of how it's going to be. Like, we are fully in control of our it can be so fun now for us, you know. It doesn't need to be like wild, unconscious, you don't know what's coming left field. You can really like plan it out, you know, with their higher self, with your higher self, with your ceremony. So I'm really excited about doing that.
It's really exciting, because when I did my deal breakers, and when I know a friend of mine done her deal breakers, the next person she met was the right one, who had all of them. Wow. It's like the world saying, I can't bring you what you want until you tell me what you want.
Yeah, no, exactly. And maybe often we attract the stuff we need to heal. We don't attract because we haven't said, you know, we're attracting these partners left, right, and center. And every time it's like, why do I attract the same person in a different body? Because you haven't healed it. And obviously in the 3D, when we're programmed, we don't have the understanding of, you know, we need to heal it. So this just kind of brings me on to the topic of the difference of twin flames and soulmates. So anybody can be your soulmate. For example, Nikki is definitely my soulmate. Your dog can be your soulmate. You know, these are like kindred spirits that come into your path to transform with you, to, you know, they're part of, what's that?
Soul family.
Soul family, yeah, absolutely. And like, you know, past life relationships, they're often soulmates. Me and you would definitely like we would have definitely worked together in past lives. And a lot of our partners, like our families, our mothers, our brothers, we would have had them as soulmates in other lives. And then your twin is actually your whole being. I'm not saying you're not a whole being, but it's like the masculine or feminine side of you in a different body. So your essence, but in another physical vessel. So they are your divine love mirror. They will mirror back to you everything that is unhealed. So twin flames and soulmates is a little bit different. Meeting your twin is definitely a highly spiritual experience and can be very transformative. And we really attach to it. And often, I'm I'm not putting any belief systems on this, but it can be a little fiery and a bit more difficult, whereas a soulmate is quite like comforting. It's more settling. There's not as much transformation to come along. Often a soulmate will come in to get you to another stage in your path or help you heal, or, you know, you have like a contract together, whereas your twin, it is like, well, it's fire, baby.
Fireworks.
Yeah,
I think the biggest thing to, you know, I'm really a big believer in a few good tools that work can see you all the way, you know, or at least can help you go, this is definitely the right direction. Okay, I've known these 3 tools now. I'm gonna pick up another couple because I'm automatic with these ones now. So when it comes to other people or anything, the less expectations you have.
I love this, by the way.
That's it. If you just have 0 expectations, set your intent, ask for what you want, decide what you want, and then you just surrender. It's ultimate surrender. It's ultimate living in the moment. It's ultimate.
But what if, can I ask you a question? So obviously we can do that. We have no expectations of what this being is going to bring, but the divine, we are moving and we are healing towards the divine archetypes, which is divine feminine, embodying the divine feminine and embodying the divine feminine, the divine masculine, so we can rebuild the trinity, and, you know, we can have heaven on earth, and these divine partnerships raise the collective consciousness, you know. So say if I was with somebody and I didn't expect anything from them, but they weren't maybe doing the highest behaviors or embodying the highest traits, how does that apply to the relationship then, do you think?
It really is an expectation though, because you're kind of saying, I'm expecting them to walk their highest path. I'm expecting them without maybe realizing it. These are subconscious expectations. So this is where you'd be much better off saying, what's really important to me? It's really important to be able to walk this path with somebody who is also growing, who is also.
But I have another question. So obviously we're finding our way back to love, and through that we are healing ourselves to transform these lower energetics. So surely if you're having that in your experience, shouldn't there be some loving boundaries of being like, you have to, I know you've set your intent for what you want, you know, and I would definitely not have anyone in my space who wasn't holding a frequency of some level of protector. It's just common human decency. That's what I'm saying, basically. There has to come to a stage where you're like, no way, like my love is unconditional, but I do not allow this in my space, and it's not going to affect me, so bye-bye.
That's why this is where we were. So basically my daughter called out to me and I had to go and see her, which is why we have that blip, and it looks like we've sort of stopped talking about one thing going on.
Oh no, it's really smooth. There won't be a blip at all. It just like carries on straight through.
We were talking about the caveman situation. So we were talking about the man and the woman, and the woman kind of has to be a little bit like, with the guy, a little bit like, are you good enough for me? Because the man always wants to know the woman he's got just a little bit, he was punching a little bit out of his weight range to get her. He needs to be like, you're amazing. Because at the end of the day,
isn't that programming? Isn't that like a lower energetic of not recognizing love, that you feel that isn't that an ego trait to be like, I need somebody that I have to chase, because men enjoy the chase, they want the action, they want to feel like they've earned it, and just in some way that must be a lower energetic of like needing something better, not just identifying love. I'm really going down the old lane here, you know.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's like, it's a combination of ego, which is animal instincts, and that's why I said go back to the caveman, which is almost just animal instincts, but the energy is still within us. The feminine masculine energies are still within us, and it does explain so much, and it does show you what really the issues are. And so then let's say, you know, because the woman's like, look, if I go with you and I have a baby with you, I'm going to start to get sore. I'm going to get hormonal. I'm going to get fat. I'm going to not want to be sexy. I'm not going to want to like jiggy all the time, you know, all of these things. Are you going to still love me then? Let's see how much you're going to love me now. Let's see what you'll take. And she tests the love. She starts testing the love. Now, to an extent, in balance, again, that's okay, because you don't want someone who's going to turn up and you're going to like, oh, you're nice, and you know, he's big strapping guy, and you think, oh, hello, you're a bit lovely, and then you kind of,
where are you? I'm just kidding, carry on.
open yourself to him. He gives you a nice little bundle of joy, and then he's like, I didn't think that much of you, love. You know, you're nice and stuff,
Yeah,
but you know,
yeah.
easy for me to see. And, you know, I'm away hunting all day, meet people on my rounds, you know what I mean? You're stuck at home with the baby.
So,
hold on.
okay, tell
And
me,
then,
there's something I want to ask, which is
yeah.
completely in line with this. Go on, finish up.
So what I'm saying is, it's kind of important for generally for a woman to kind of check the suitability of her beau previous to submitting to him, shall we say?
I
Because
guess it is kind of like, you're right, if you mate and you have a baby, you're giving up everything. You are in an unsafe situation. You cannot, you know, find another mate because you're already filled up with somebody's, you know. So it's
right,
like,
exactly. So
you do have to be in a position, and I think that somehow has been lost because I feel the feminine, we are nurturing and kind, and now we have this society of ghosting.
Oh, I've got it. Sorry, I have to interrupt you. Think of the animal kingdom. The man, the boy, does his little dance, or he waves his feathers, or he has to, you know, fight the other top dog on the block to get status of I'm the strongest, I'm the best. And then he goes and gets the girl. He has to have proved himself. We don't do that in humanity, in human situations.
Is that okay? So this aligns perfectly. Is that why ghosting has become a thing? Because you get one and then you're like, could get another one. Like there's so many opportunities, you know, there's Tinder, there's like a million dating apps, you know, like you don't have to have a kid by the age of like 25 and have a house then, you know, there is a whole world of opportunity out there, you know. Maybe it's like, I don't know,
It's more like looking at the strategies of what we do. Like, you need to be discerning. Otherwise, it's like a lucky dip. You're like, I'll just take everything. You're like, hang on a minute. Life is not, you know, set yourself up for success. Have a strategy about this, because life, relationships amplify you. The problems amplified. The good times, amplified too, but the problems are really amplified. You want to set yourself up so that you have as few problems as possible, because at the end of the day, if you're raising little ones, they get to see you as an example of what to expect. And when it's bad, it's really traumatic for the kids. So by setting your intent, by doing your deal breakers, and by basically saying, I know what I need and I deserve to be happy. So if I meet somebody, and I see this all the time, people go from one relationship that didn't work, they go into another one, and there's a little red flag being waved, and they're like, oh, it's only a little one, I don't need to look at that. And I'm like, and the relationship 3 weeks later falls on its ass, and that person goes, oh, it's like, you saw the red flag.
I do feel though that we can't not experience things, because that is part of human life. Like often you have a contract with a being to go into a relationship that won't be forever, but you will transform with that person. You will attract that person into your space. Same friendships. We have friendships that last for months, years, whatever. You know, you don't see the cracks until the contract's up. When the contract's up, you're like, what was I even thinking, man? But like, while you're meant to be in that place, you don't see those red flags. This is a different perspective on this.
This is building new earth, right? This is balance. New earth is balance. New earth is everything in the right proportions, and you know, good and bad are serving each other and stuff like that. If you've got a tilted spectrum, it's not going to work. So if you want to step into new earth, this is a really powerful way of doing it, because you're going, hang on a minute, you've got your loving boundaries. You're going, I deserve to have my needs met. They deserve to have their needs met. If I clearly can see I'm not right for them, you're asking for trouble if you go into a relationship with them, and vice versa. And the casualness of relationships. So like, I'm not saying don't do casual relationships. I'm not saying don't go and have a fling with somebody you find irresistible, but take precautions and don't expect to get away with it. And then all of a sudden,
absolutely.
What if I find someone who's got everything I want, and I can get excited at building something with somebody? They have the same thing about me. And I'm not joking. Your honeymoon period will not end. It will go, I'm telling you, it will go into this Think of it as the rings on a tree, right? This little sapling tree, it's all fresh and young and beautiful.
Isn't love meant to lead to contentment, right? It's meant to go from like the false kind of lust to a deeper, you know, sense of fulfillment, of safety, of, you know, like you don't need all this excitement. You just need
have the excitement of living life, because life's always going to throw you curveballs and things are going to happen, and you get that excitement, but you also get the stability, you get the balance, because you still have the excitement, because you still look at that person and go, you're incredible. Damn, I made a good decision.
I think we'll do this another episode because we are really pushing on. But I think it's fascinating to understand the divine feminine's role within a relationship, the divine masculine's role within a relationship. And we have touched on it, and the sense that the feminine, you know, we shouldn't be chasing anybody. We should be allowing it into our space, because with the oracles, we are the high priestesses, we are the leaders of the relationships and of the new earth. And I just want to say, it'd be fascinating to have a masculine's point of view on what don't you think?
Yeah.
Like, just like, because obviously we have the hormones, we have the womanly nurturing side of it, but I'd love to hear the masculine's 3D perspective and the 5D perspective of, you know, because they've got a lot of chemicals going on, and for them it's less about feeling, but their feeling centers are being turned on. It's more about action and doing, and like you said, you know, they are the ones who would have gone out and got the food, so that's why they have less of the like the hormonal side. But it'd just be fascinating to have like a take on it.
They have the hormonal side before, they have the lust and everything before, we have it afterwards, we have the hormonal situation afterwards. But just really in closing as well, we
often say men fall in love quicker than women as well. Men will say I love you before women will.
The thing is, this is where again it proves that we need balance. For men need sex for them to feel connection, women need for them to feel love. Women love before they can give sex, right? There has to be compromise, there has to be balance, there has to be equality. So this
understanding of each other's needs.
Exactly. So if you set this up in the beginning, you're off on a good footing all the way through. But what I want to do is really pull it back to realizing relationships amplify who you are, but you got to realize who you are and base who you are, and that comes from going within and going to source. Get that relationship right first before you go on to anyone else, because when you go to other people, if your needs haven't been met internally and to source, you're going to be putting on those needs on other people, and you have a ton of expectation, and it will lead to pain. So really that was the big message in that one.
I think it's you know, we can always say like go within and all that, and then people are like, okay, how do I do that? So like yesterday when I automatic wrote about it, I just wrote and wrote and wrote whatever needed to come through, the angels pushed, and it was so healing. So, you know, Nick's saying like get to know yourself, so why not write about your needs, what you want in a relationship, set your intent, tell the universe, and yeah, you are the creator of your reality. It's not like you are not helpless or in control. This is your relationship, it's your life. So go have some
deal breakers. Do them for you, do them for the relationship, or do them for the project, or whatever the subject matter is. And
absolutely.
For you when it's happened, not just what you want to appear, but when it's in there. And also do a plan of action, do a strategy for what are the first signs of it going wrong. And this is not inducing it. No, all you're doing is going, I'm going to be so well prepared. My base is going to be so strong. My pyramid is going to get to go even higher. The view is going to be even better. It's going to be even last longer, even more sturdy to, you know, what comes our way. And
upgrade in relationships for sure, isn't it? It's like a dimensional upgrade, you know, we're not doing it from an unconscious level.
It's incredible. So we'll put the descriptions and the links in the description box again, and the models and stuff, and you can find out more at 5DJourney.org, and also on the Telegram channels and whatnot. But yeah, I think if you've got any questions, if you have specific situations like what to do when you're divorcing, what to do when you're having children from other marriages, and there's conflict and stuff like that, we can.
Or I think we should do another video on this. It's one of the biggest things that is unspoken of, and I've had so many friends and myself that, you know, you've been in a relationship for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and you're not happy, and you feel like you can't leave. You're like, I'm just gonna I've got a house with them, I've got to, you know, I know their family, I've got to just do it. I'm just going to stick in the unhappy situation. You know, I think that's a really big one to address, because moving forwards, relationships will be shifting, you know, like.
And in short, what you just said is the same answer. Go within, check what you need, check what you can afford to let go, check what the deal breakers are for you to continue. Yeah.
Let's do another video, because there's so much in it. There's like the emotional pain that comes from breakups. People think that because you're in pain, you shouldn't be breaking up, whereas that's not, like, you know, just because it hurts doesn't mean you get back together, right?
Absolutely. So we could definitely do, but you know, if you do have any questions about this, we'll give it maybe a few moments so people can watch this and maybe write some questions, even if, you know, they're just writing them because they've got the question and whatever, or hypothetical questions.
We could do a live stream. We could do a live stream on relationships. Let's do that.
Yeah,
and then
let's do that. Well, we can do it this Sunday then.
Yay!
Right, thank you for bearing with us. It was a long one today, but it's a good one. It's a really important one, right? Because it's not just, like I said, relationships with each other. It's with kids, lovers, partners, bosses, friends, family. And if you're awake, you will have definitely been feeling it on the relationship side, because, yeah. Anyway, we love you. Thank you so much. All comments and questions welcome. And see you on the next one. See you on the live stream, hopefully.
Love you all. Thank you.
Bye.
I've got no